Hey everybody, welcome to Marcy Barker Fitness. I wanted to get on it again today and talk about rewards, okay? Somebody asked me a question lately and said, you really need to help my friend. She says that food is her reward. And I am like, okay, I've heard that before. I'm sure you've heard that before. Maybe you've even said that yourself too. First of all, make sure that you really know what your reward is when you say that. Because a lot of people think that they can exercise like crazy and then just go eat a crappy meal afterwards. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but it should not be your norm, okay? So when I think about reward, when I feel like I need a reward, what I used to say was like, I would clean the whole house or I'd be dealing with the kids all day long and I would say, I deserve a donut. Because I don't keep donuts in the house and I do enjoy donuts. So if you were to ask me like, what's your favorite treat? What's your favorite dessert? What do you eat when you want to treat yourself? Always hands down a donut. So I have been reading more about habits and how we internally get rewards all day long for our actions. And the rewards aren't always good. They're just something that we think makes us feel better throughout the day. So when we're talking about rewards, I want you guys to recognize like what your reward is and if you need to change that reward thinking or not. So very first thing, think about what your reward is, okay? For a second. If somebody were to ask you, what is your reward, whether it comes to eating healthy, getting work done, fulfilling your responsibilities, like what is your reward for doing that thing, okay? So in this person's case, food. They said their reward is food. So they think if they want to go out and eat healthy, then or exercise, then they should reward themselves with food, okay? At this point, we don't know if that food is healthy or if it's like a treat meal, okay? So think about what your reward is. Next, I want you to think of or identify what action you did that makes you feel like you need to be rewarded, okay? So in my case, if I feel like I need a donut because I cleaned the house and I dealt with the kids all day long, that's my action. So technically I should get a reward any day that I clean the kitchen or I deal with the kids, or if it was a hard day with the kids, I should get a reward or a donut for dealing with that. So I'm going to identify my action. So with your guys' reward, identify what action takes place that makes you start to think like, hey, I need to get my treat meal, or I need to get paid for this, or I need to get recognition, or whatever it is. So you have your reward, you have your action, okay? Then you have the cue, which means what makes you do that action, okay? So for me, sometimes my cue is, dang, this place is a pigsty, or dang, my kids are fighting all day long. That's a cue because that makes my action happen. That means I start cleaning, or that means I have to start dealing with the kids, okay? So I want you to think about what makes you exercise or what makes you live healthy. What is your cue that makes you take action? And then the action therefore gives you a reward, okay? So for me, in my case, I see a dirty house or I see crazy kids and I have to deal with it. I clean it and then I'm like, oh, I did so awesome. I deserve a reward. So I always was like, a donut. I deserve a donut. I deserve it. And it wasn't that I told myself I wanted it. I told myself that I deserved it, okay? But as I've been learning more about habits, I realized that a donut feels good for 10 seconds and then it's gone. It's gone. Like it doesn't do anything for you after that. Nothing at all. And so I want to start to help you shift your mind. If you clean the house all day long, or if you deal with kids, or you go and you put up with mean people at work, don't you want your reward to last longer than 10 seconds? Like, it just seems weird that you'd want your reward to be like, okay, you did a great job and it's over. So I have started to experiment with what my reward is. So when I would go to the store and say I would get myself a donut, well, if I have the kids with me, then what happens? The kids start fighting over, I want a donut too. So I realized I needed to take the drive to the store by myself, and I'd have to eat that donut before I got home. So what did I do? I was taking a drive by myself. When I took a drive by myself, that was the action that took place before I was getting my reward. So I had realized that when I take a drive by myself, that's calming. That when I don't have to deal with kids, when I don't have to listen to what the kids want to listen to, when I can do what I want to do, I realized that that was my reward. The cool thing about having a reward that's not food related, especially crappy food related, is that it lasts a lot longer. So if I was coming home after having a donut, maybe I don't feel that well because I've trained myself to not binge on sugar. So when I do eat a little bit more sugar, then it's like, oh, I can recognize it. But if I were to take a drive and use that as my reward, I was coming home a more fulfilled, more relaxed, more in tune person. So instead of telling myself I deserve a donut, I tell myself I deserve a drive by myself. And sometimes I just tell the husband, like, nope, I'll be back. I'm going by myself. I'm not taking any kids. You know, and sometimes you leave even if they're screaming because you deserve it. That's a reward for dealing with it. So I want you guys to recognize, like, what is it that your reward is? Is it something that you can transition to make you feel better longer? I also want you to make sure that your reward is different than somebody else's, because we all have a different path to being a happy and healthy person. Our rewards are going to be completely different. You might find that your reward is treating yourself to a phone call, somebody that you don't talk to very often, somebody that makes you feel good. It may be a drive by yourself. It may be locking yourself in your room for 15 minutes. That could be your reward. Your reward for doing good things and fulfilling your responsibilities should be something that makes you a better person, because when you do that, when your reward is truly something that makes you become a better person, then your actions are going to take place more easily. And then when you see that cue of what makes you take action, it's going to be a piece of cake, because you know the reward is going to be far lasting. It's going to last for a long time rather than just a couple minutes. So I want you to know that finding the reward, identifying your action, and the cue is going to take some time. This is something that I can help you with. If you guys have questions about this, you can ask me. I have a public Facebook group called Fun and Sustainable Fitness by Marcy Barker, so I'll link that below. I invite you to join that. But really though, I want you guys to live a fun and sustainable lifestyle. And if your rewards are based on treating yourself like crap or indulging in something that's not really going to make you feel well long term, then we should change that. We should recognize what we have to do to help you feel better every single day. But ultimately, you guys, it has to be your own. You can't follow anybody else's path. You have to recognize what your action is, what your cues are, and what your reward should be, because everybody's life is different. So if you guys have questions, let me know. I would love to answer your questions and talk to you on a more personal level. So you can join my Facebook group, or please comment with any questions you have, and please subscribe if you haven't yet. So I will see you guys all for another video very soon. Okay, bye.